In your notebook, write today's date, 9.2, multiply polynomials, which is the objective. You will learn how to multiply polynomials. Copy question number 4. They're asking you to find the product. So step number 1, you have 4y, which is outside the parenthesis, and you have something inside the parenthesis. So you're going to apply the distributive property. So one method I'm going to use is called the table method. Now this table method is a method that you will use consistently all throughout to multiply polynomials. So the first one I'm going to write is the 4y. So 4y, I'm writing it vertical. And I'm going to put a line and I'm going to put a vertical line and a dot. The dot implies I'm going to multiply. So the one inside the parenthesis, I'm going to break it apart as negative y cubed, negative 2y, and negative 1. So this is the first step in understanding how to multiply polynomials. So of course you can use the distributive property, but the table method is a method that I will use consistently, so make sure that you understand this also. So 4y multiplies all of these terms. I'm just chunking it apart and breaking it and writing it within its own column. So now I'm multiplying 4y by negative y to the power of 3. So this is going to give me a negative answer, and 4 is going to just tag along. Now y cubed times y, you got to understand this from chapter 8. Now this you get a 1. So when you multiply, if the bases are the same, you just add the exponents. So this becomes y to the power of 4. Now when you multiply 4 times negative 2, you're going to get negative 8. So you're going to multiply y times y. Y times y is going to give you y squared. Negative 1 multiplies positive 4 to give you negative 4. Y just tags along. So the final answer in this case will be negative 4 y to the power of 4 minus 8 y to the power of 2 minus 4y, which in this case is this. Now sometimes on your EOC, the answer might look a little different, where they might remove the minus sign. So if they remove the minus sign, they might pull it outside the parentheses. So everything changes signs on the inside. So instead of negative, it becomes a positive. Instead of a negative, it becomes a positive. So they might pull the negative. So don't be misled, they are both the same. You need to identify your answer on the EOC. Pause the video, rewind this video, and understand this better. Now copy question number 7. Let's do this together. So if you understand negative a to the power of 5 is multiplying everything inside the parentheses, so that is the first term I'm going to write. I'm going to write negative a to the power of 5. And then I'm going to put a horizontal line. Dot implies I'm multiplying. So now everything inside the parentheses, I'm going to break it apart. 9a squared is one term. Positive 5a is another term. Positive 13 is another term. Now the one thing you have to understand is you have to bring the signs along with it. So now you're multiplying negative a5 with each of these terms. So negative times negative is going to give you a positive. 9, there is nothing else to do. You're multiplying a squared times a5. This you have to understand from your chapter 5. Sorry, your chapter 8, which is exponents. So this becomes a to the power of 7. So if the exponents are the same, if the bases are the same, you add the exponents. So this becomes a to the power of 7. Now the second one, positive 5, negative, gives you a negative 5. And you're trying to multiply a to the power of 5 times a. You are multiplying. So a gets a power of 1. So remember, if the bases are the same when you're multiplying, you just add the exponents, which is a to the power of 6. Now the last one, 13 times negative, positive 13 times negative is going to give you a negative 13, a to the power of 5, just tags along. So the final answer in this case becomes 9 a to the power of 7 minus 5 a to the power of 6 minus 13 a to the power of 5, which I am getting it from here. Copy question number 10. They are asking you to use the table to find the product, which is what we are using. So now this one is having two parentheses. So the first parenthesis is y minus 5. So the first parenthesis, I'm going to write it vertical. So I'm going to split them apart and I'm going to write it as y minus 5. It really comes easy with the practice. It's more like a tic-tac-toe. Now the second parenthesis, so this and this is done, writing it vertical. Now these two terms, I'm going to write it horizontal. So 2y and positive 3. Yes, you have to write the signs along with it. Now this looks like a tic-tac-toe. The dot implies you're multiplying. Now you're going to multiply everything. So y on the outside multiplies 2y to give you 2y squared. Y multiplies positive 3 to give you 3y. Negative 5 multiplies 2y to give you negative 10y. Negative 5 times 2 is negative 10. Y just tags along. Negative 5 multiplies positive 3 to give you negative 15. So once you get this, focus on the one that I'm going to highlight and show you. Now look at this box. So if you look at this box, I'm going to highlight and show you which ones I can combine. Negative 10y and 3y, you can combine them. So those are the ones that I'm going to focus next. So I'm going to combine negative 10y and 3y. These two I cannot combine, so I'm just going to write it down. So 2y squared. Negative 10, positive 3 combines to give you negative 7y minus 15, and which in this case is the final answer. Pause the video, rewind the question, and understand this better. Now copy question number 14. Let's do this together. Using the table method, I'm going to write 8n minus 5, writing it vertical, like a tic-tac-toe, filling in the boxes. So this goes vertical. These two, split them and write them horizontal. Now 8 multiplies 3 to give you 24. N multiplies n to give you n squared. 8 multiplies negative 6 to give you negative 48n, just tags along. Negative 5 multiplies 3 to give you negative 15, n just tags along. Negative 5 multiplies negative 6 to give you positive 30. So once you identify this, now look to see out of these four if there is anything you can combine. You can combine the n's. So there is nothing else to combine for 24. So I'm just going to write it as 24n squared. Negative 15, negative 48 combines to give you negative 63n plus 30. So if I highlight and show you, this box is your answer, but the box itself does not have it in simplest form because you can still combine these two. So this, I cannot combine it. I'm just going to bring it down. These two, because they are the same n's, I can combine them to give you negative 63n and plus 30. There is nothing else to combine. So this will be the final answer.